Dan Cassette, Bob Zurich,
Here.
Bob Kleppel,
Here.
Kevin Creedy,
Here.
Nick Obermark, Jeff Packey, Tessie Steffens,
Here.
Sparky Stuckenschneider,
Here.
Debbie Todebush,
Here.
Dave Waymeyer,
Here.
Betty Werner,
Here.
Gavin Woolley.
Here.
Do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, they have an approval of minutes from our October 7th meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Since we do have some visitors here tonight, before we're going to go to new business and then come back to the Parks report and other things. So anybody want to address the the commission?
We just got a raise.
Somebody from the Soccer Association here?
Come on up.
Good evening.
Good evening. You are?
I am Sarah Lowe.
Okay,
I'm the
Sarah.
president of Washington Soccer Association.
Yes.
Yes. We
Just-
were
well,
asked to be
let
at the
me
meeting
Let me
tonight.
just bring up a few things. We
Yes,
were just wondering, a few things that maybe you could give us a report on,
Sure.
like how did your season go?
It was great.
It was really good. And still going?
Technically, we have our competitive league still going. They play out of Slica, but they practice at Washington Fields. So we have 3 practices still left. Their season was extended because of COVID. They didn't start until later in the season, until September, whereas typically they would start at late August. And so their Slica season lasts 18 weeks, whereas Washington Soccer Association lasts 10 weeks. So it's a little bit longer, but our kids had a great time. We have about 500 families in Washington Soccer Association. And so we have over 33 schools represented by those 500 children, those players and families. And so it's a wide variety from Sullivan to Eureka to Labadie to St. Clair to all over. They all come to Washington Soccer Association for their league play and development. So over the past 14 weeks, we've had a really successful season. Nothing but compliments, not only of the association and how it is organized, how we communicate, how we schedule the games, how we use our fields, and then also of the fields themselves. So overall, especially given the circumstances with COVID and how so many other seasons had to be canceled in other sports, soccer is one of the lucky ones that was able to continue, and so we were very, very grateful. And no cancellations from weather in the whole 10 weeks that we had.
Really was good. It was a good fall.
Incredible. So, we also just entered into a 4-year agreement and partnership with New Balance. So New Balance Team
Balance?
Sports is a national brand of athletic wear, and they support football in the United Kingdom and then soccer in the United States.
You mean a contract with them? And
We have a contract with them, yes, that we represent New Balance, and New Balance then outfits all of our association. So all of our children, all of our players, all of our coaches will be outfitted in New Balance starting in the fall of '21.
at their cost, huh? Mm-hmm. That's outstanding.
That's great.
Thank you.
Good deal.
So what do you charge? Do you charge per person to play, or?
It depends on the program. We have everything from Little Kickers program. We have a competitive league that now plays with Slica and represents Washington, Missouri, across the region. And then we also have an outdoor league that plays in the fall and in the spring. We also offer academy training in the summer, and then we also host a challenger camp in the summer that has kind of their own program going, but they come in and they facilitate a summer camp that is a half-day or a full-day program. So there's a wide variety of fees.
What would you say the average is? Just
About $100.
about $100 a head, probably? Okay. Let's see, I know there have been some parking issues. Would you like to bring that up here and talk about it a little bit, or?
What would you like to know?
Well, I haven't been to a soccer game, so I don't know. Is it the lack of parking space? I mean, I went up there and counted, there's roughly on asphalt, maybe 140 to 150 spaces. Is that enough?
It really depends on the day and the time. I spoke with Ms. Warner about it in the fall of 2019, so this is not a new issue that we have had. It really stems from not having enough parking in the park. We have a lot of games that are on Saturdays. A lot of other associations have games that are on Saturdays. So it's not just soccer parents that are parking in the parking lot. We have a very centralized parking lot for the entire park. So we have people that park there and then they go walk their dog, or they park there and they go to the All Abilities Park, or they park there and they have soccer, or they park there because they have no parking over at the football association parking lots. So it's kind of a combined issue, and we're hoping that you have solutions to it. And what we did for this fall to try and alleviate is that we allowed a half an hour in between our game times, which was not, it wasn't easy. It's something that it ultimately cost us more because we are paying for site managers to be on site so that we know that someone is there providing just an eye to make sure that things are going well. If someone had a medical emergency, that person is trained. And so it expands our time, but it was able to let the traffic flow a little bit easier.
At any given time, how many games, if you say like you stagger, or a half hour, how many games would be going on at one time?
Well, we have Field 1, 1A, 2, and 3. So the amount of people is all about the same. 2, 3.
But did you not take some of those fields? I know you have 1A, but like on 2 or 3, there could be 3 games going on that field. So, I mean, I guess my point is you could have like 5 or 6 games going on all at one time.
Yes, I understand the confusion. There is on Field 2, actually on Field 1 and 1A in 2019, U.S. soccer standards changed. And so instead of having children playing on a team of 8, they wanted children playing on a team of 4. So you play 4v4. So the amount of people is the same, but you play on a smaller field space so that the players have access to the ball. They're not able to hide in the back of the field. So developmentally, it's much better for the player, but it's the same amount of people on the field. So even though last year we split Field 1 and 1A into 2 smaller fields, and they had technically 4 games going on at the same time, it was the same amount of people as what was in 2017, 2018. And so in order to alleviate any sort of wear and tear on Field 1 and 1A, we had the same amount of space available on Field 2.
Right.
And so we split Field 2 this season into 4 fields, rectangles.
Right.
And so playing space.
4 playing areas.
Yes, playing space. And so the amount of people is the same that is in the park at the same time, but the way that they play is different.
So let me ask you, what's your season? What is the length of your season? And I know that you've probably mentioned it to us before, but
10 weeks.
it starts in March?
Well, we have a spring season and we have a fall season for the outdoor league.
Okay.
So if you're speaking to the recreational program that we have, it started on August 22nd and it ended on Halloween. this past fall. We're looking at the spring season starting February 27th and going until mid-May. You have a little bit more issues with weather in the spring, and so we have expanded it a little bit. The number of games will be the same, but with Easter and such holidays, we're taking that into consideration.
Yeah, 3-on-3.
We also hosted a 3-on-3 tournament in May of 2019, which had the worst weather that day, but the kids loved it. And that's all we hear about is how much they enjoyed the 3v3 tournament. And so with COVID at peak in May, we weren't able to host that this year, but we're very much looking forward to it in '21.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
What is the Soccer Association, what is your expectations of the Parks and Recreation Department and the Parks Commission?
Expectation?
Yeah.
Well, we really feel like the Lakeview Fields are our home. And so we always strive to provide the best for our community. And so the amount of work that the city has done in the past year to those fields has just been incredible and so welcomed. We had some low spot issues, and they were right on it as soon as we needed. It's always mowed whenever we were needing it. The striping became a little bit of an issue this past fall. The striping of the lines, because it would rain or we would mow, and then the striping was a little inconsistent. So we stepped in and said, can we help with that? Because we know when our games are, and we have a striping machine, and we had people that were willing to help. And so that was something that we could help alleviate the work done at the city. So expectations to have a home for our association and to welcome the community there.
Okay. And in return for those expectations, what do you think your responsibilities are as a Soccer Association?
We provide an amazing service to the community. Knowing the growth of soccer, over the last 4 years, we've grown 30% every single year in steady progression. Knowing that an MLS team is coming in 2022, we are very much looking forward to how soccer has expanded in the area. We have acquired 55 MISA certified coaches. We have gone to Missouri Youth Soccer Association and the U.S. Soccer Federation, and we've trained these individuals who are investing not only in themselves, but then they're passing on that education to our children in our community. And so they're not only just learning soccer, they're learning time management and how to play well with others and respect for authority. And I think if you were to gather all of the grade point averages of WSA players, they're incredible, especially for our competitive kids, really because they don't have any other time to do anything else. They play soccer and they practice and they do their homework. And so we really take a lot of pride in what we do. Our board calls it a commitment to excellence, and so that is what we provide to the community.
Can I just go back just for
Yes, ma'am.
points of, if you do your spring season, those games are generally on the weekends, during the week?
We try to keep them on Saturdays.
So that season would roughly be 10 weeks.
Correct.
So 10 Saturdays, those fields would all be used.
Correct.
And
That is what we attempted to do this past spring, but we were shut down
Right.
2 weeks into it. Yes.
then in the fall season, it would
Yes.
roughly be another 10 weeks.
Yes.
With all the games being played on, most of them, Saturday.
Yes.
So all those fields, 1, 1A, 2, and 3, would be used.
Correct.
Okay, so in the fall, you run into problems in terms of parking and things because football is also going on.
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah.
Some Saturdays it's an issue and some Saturdays it's not. And really, we see the most congestion early in the morning because
That's a
you're
little-
trying to get your games in and then, get on with your Saturday.
And then in the competitive league, so I'm just trying to add this up. So that's 20 weeks with soccer. And in your competitive league, how many more weeks would it be fair to assume that 25 weeks out of the year would be?
Upwards of 30, I would say. They don't play games in Washington yet. The Slice League when you join any sort of association, your initial year, your first year in that association, you're not allowed to host home games. And so even though they were looking for fields to be able to play on outside of St. Louis County, Washington was not a consideration at that point. And so going forward, hopefully, we will be able to host teams out here, but they don't play games we all go to St. Louis for
Right.
those games. So they practice during the week on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Comments? Anybody? Comments?
I'd like to make a comment. I think we should thank the Washington Soccer Association because they did basically pay for our sign out there to try to help out on their part of the association in conjunction with the Parks Department and the city, you know. So, excuse me. No, I don't have COVID. I just think it was, you know, they're also trying to help out too, to keep the fields clean, pick up litter, trash and all this. And that has passed down to the teams themselves, the coaches and the players and so forth. So when she talks about respect and leadership and responsibility, it's amazing, you know, how this program has come alive. Okay.
Thank you. We were happy to help with the sign. We also made a sizable donation to an association called St. Louis Roadies. They provide soccer for homeless people in St. Louis, and their association is worldwide. And so we were able to make a donation to them, as well as the Washington Fire Department. They came out during our summer program and they hosed off all the kids, and then we made a donation back to them.
One other thing, just real quick, on the parking issue, in all fairness, I mean, we've got to look at this and figure out things. I don't know that that parking issue might be solved before your spring season. And just because of grounds and parking on the grass and the wetness and just everything, because we don't want, I know you don't either, any destruction of the rest.
Of course, yes.
If we might be getting back with you. I mean, would you be opposed to letting your members and people who come to the games and encourage them that the problem is being looked at? It probably will not be solved by spring, but to try to we can help keep them off the grass?
Would you like us to ask them to not park in the grass? Is that
Yes,
what you're
I would.
asking? We have done that in the past. What hindered it was because they're accustomed to doing that during the fair.
I know, but things change.
Sure, of course.
And-
In 2019, there were cars that were ticketed for parking there, and it discouraged that. And so why it became an issue this past fall, I'm not really sure. And, but of course, yeah.
Yeah,
if-
I mean, I think we would, because things happen, but not as fast as what we would like. And, you know, I just don't want to see any more damage out there. Not saying that it was all soccer, but especially in the spring, as you know how wet it is.
Absolutely.
You know, so, okay.
What solutions would there be to mark off that space to discourage people from parking there, as well as our communication to our members?
It's something that we need to discuss. It's just a matter of time, manpower, with everything that's got to be done, and, you know, in the spring with everything that goes on and opening, and we just have to see. But you know, it's one of the suggestions that we have written down. So
Is the spring season as large as the fall season?
No.
Okay.
It's brand new. So this past year was our first go at it. Most associations with soccer have a spring season. For some reason, with Washington, they never have had. And so we have a really strong board that's very passionate about having kids having soccer development. And so offering spring was something that we really strive to do. It was disappointing having to cancel that this past spring, but understandably. And so hopefully, as our association grows, it will be as strong as the fall. But starting out, I do not anticipate it being as large.
That'll help.
Although I've been surprised before, so.
Would one other issue, and I think it's an issue that Chad, maybe you could talk about or whatever, is trying to take care of the turf whenever the fields are being used as much as they are.
The
would
grass?
you- Pardon me?
The grass?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Would you be opposed to maybe a certain time period during the best time to take care of the turf, which would be early fall, to not scheduling any games so that the fields could be, like, let's say, mended? Can you talk to that, Chad, maybe also, or just what?
Yeah, we need to make the fields have time to rest, but like I said, early fall, I mean, that's when we're trying to finish up the season. But I don't know if we can, schedule, I don't know, we just have to look at what we can do so we can get the seeding and fertilization in, which is gonna greatly help you in the fall and the spring and the summer. We don't wanna be, I know this year we fixed some spots in August, which we don't wanna be there, but in the spring and the summer is when we have all the other events going on usually too. That's why we can't, this year we did a lot better because we didn't have all the events and stuff. So we just need to look at times that we can work together to get some of that stuff done too. I'm not sure when is the right time. We do all the, we seed or fertilize in the spring and the fall, and we seed in the fall. So that's where we gotta see what we can do to give the grass time to germinate and grow.
So in 2019, when we were reviewing the fees, we talked about letting a field rest. And that, for the fall season, that didn't really seem to work out. Now, to the credit of the Soccer Association, this past spring, despite only having 2 weeks of a season, we had an agreement to let one of the fields, I don't remember which one it was, but we had an
1A.
agreement to let one of the fields rest, at least during the spring season. And so that's a start, and that would help. I don't know if we'll be able to pull it off this spring or, depending on your numbers and things like that, but
I
just
think
wanted
they're
to
in
make that known.
They are in much better condition as well. The work that was done in the fall of 2019 around the perimeter of Field 1, it really allows for the water to flow properly. We had no issues on Field 1 that I'm aware of, other than I think there was some sort of critter in the middle of Field 1A at one point that dug a hole, and so Josh took care of it really, really quickly. Field 2 had a very large spot.
Actually, irrigation line had a pinhole. That's what caused that.
Oh, I see. Well, they have.
But if you
taken
notify us,
care.
we definitely
Oh,
want to.
I did. Josh was out there as I came up, and they were already working on it. So the amount of turf that was put on Field 2 just a couple weeks ago, a week ago or two, and then the amount of turf that was put or the sod that was put on Field 3 has helped tremendously. So I don't really know that we have too many issues at this point, but there are 4 modules of soccer, 4v4, 7v7, 9v9, and 11v11. And so in a perfect world, you would have 4 different sized fields. We only have 3 in Washington. And so while we just try and manage as best as we can. So when we take another field off of the table, it's very difficult to schedule and be able to host a full program.
And we understand that.
Sure.
But you also have to realize a couple things, I think, and this sounds like I'm against soccer, and I'm not, because my kids have all played soccer, now my grandkids all play soccer, I know all about it. I sit here and I first of all think of 30 weeks in an area that I want all our kids to have things to do. But that's also part of a public entity within the city. I'm just saying that if it was a Saturday afternoon and I want to go down with my grandkids or whatever and use a field to play soccer or to kick the ball or whatever, 30 weeks is a long time to commit to fields for soccer. I'm not saying I'm against it, I'm just pointing it out. It's also, I think, a responsibility to keep the fields in the best condition possible. And so to be able to do that, that might mean that maybe, I'm not, you don't schedule your spring season to start till maybe the middle of March. And maybe January and February, and then we can get in and seed and fertilize, and you know what I mean? I don't know, I'm just throwing these ideas out, because there are points in time that we have to be able to take care of those fields. And there are points in times, if we're gonna have that many kids play, we wanna make sure that those fields are in the best condition. So we have to be given time to be able to do that. And when I look at 30 weeks, and I don't see a lot of time given to the care of the fields.
Tessie, may I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
Some of this was actually discussed previously with Wayne and the board and so forth, and of giving the fields a rest. We certainly understand that, and I want to make 2 points. Number one, this 30 weeks you're speaking of, these are 30 Saturdays. They're not 30 7-day weeks, okay?
But
So-
soccer does
Yes.
wear
and-
down a field.
Okay.
And practices.
Well, the practice is on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and mainly they're after school or whatever type thing.
Right, but it still affects a field.
Understandable, but there's a lot of room up there. Secondly, we had also discussed the fact about giving these fields a rest, being able to work these fields, reseed or whatever's necessary. And we also came to realize that the baseball season, when it ends, those outfields are not being utilized. So we measured those outfields and found out that we could actually put some games, soccer games on the outfields there without really doing any damage of any kind. That would give rest to those fields that you're referring to.
Right.
Okay?
That's
So
good.
there is an option. And one last thing, I know you don't want to hear this, but anybody that knows me says I speak from the heart. But that open field north of Field 3, okay, it's been there for eons. That in the future, maybe not right now, maybe not even next year, but somewhere down the road, that field can also be utilized. It may be a small field in terms of a practice field, but at the same token, it could also be a parking lot. And some people say, well, you can't drive across that walking path. I understand that, but that walking path is really a path that goes down to the Parks Department. That could be changed a little bit and re-altered to where that walking path that runs parallel with Field 3 could easily join in front of the concession stand without disturbing that area. You can open up 60 or more spaces down at the park. That would also assist the baseball people and the football people, and give you some more space there too. Okay, just my put.
Right. Good, good.
Well, I think that maybe we don't work it out tonight, but I think that between us and the Soccer Association, we need to find time to give those fields rest and be able to work on them. If it's shutting one of them down for 2 weeks at a certain period of time and you practice elsewhere, we can discuss all those things. But I think we need to get together to make sure that we find the time for those fields to be taken care of. With, using it that many weeks out of a year, we definitely just have to do it. And I think between the two groups, we can work this out.
We've been great partners for the last couple of years, so I look forward to it.
I have one comment, and we'll kind of wrap this up then. But one first, before I forget, thank you for coming. Hopefully the bullet points I sent you helped, because it looks like you covered almost all of them, I think, as far as I can tell. So I appreciate that. One thing, and so most of this information I did learn a few new things, but have heard and knew already. But one thing that did catch my mind was, I think you said I think you said last 2 years, the association has grown 30% each year, which is great. But with that said, so that leads to more games and kind of everything, and more parking, all this stuff that we've been talking about. Are you open, or would you guys be open to using any other fields than just the Lakeview fields, like the Midway? So say if we have to if we come to an agreement and we let a field rest, maybe we could shift some games over to Midway for that year or
That is
whatever.
something that we've discussed. The issues that were at Midway were the fair. The fair happens right before our season begins, and the field will not be prepared by the time our season begins. There's a lot of holes from carousel rides and traffic and that sort of thing, so it wouldn't be conducive to a soccer field. If there are other suggestions, I think we're open to them. However, I would like it to be thought of that when you have a 6-year-old child, and then you have an 8-year-old child, or you have a 10-year-old child, then you're splitting up that family. And something that our families have very much enjoyed is having one home base to be able to have all of their children at the same spot. We see a lot of times families then, they drop their child off at practice, they go walk their dog around the lake, they take a sibling to the playground. And so when I say it's our home, we treat it like our home. And so not only do we want the best conditions, but we like one centralized location as well.
What age group puts the most wear and tear on the field?
That puts tear on the fields?
Yeah, I mean, who causes, I mean, wear and tear? Who's wearing out the field? Is it the youngsters because they're all, or is it the older players because they're just faster, they stop harder, they?
Have bigger feet, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're talking a U6er or a U8, you're talking about maybe 40 pounds.
Right.
So I don't imagine that that's a huge amount of tear to it. And then as children are older, our players are older, we have less teams. So I would say it's about the same, all in all. And there was a new aerator or something that was purchased and seating, and that has made a tremendous difference in the last couple of years using that. We're down a lot less time, and it's much more effective. So I don't really know.
And that was my
Answer that
question, is there a way to play a less impactful, you know, if you're going, instead of putting a field out where you can't play on it, can the little kids go play on it because they're less impactful and cause less, you know, you're just not tearing up the fields like,
Well, we don't have metal cleats like football, and it's just a different game.
I think you just have to look at the different fields and where they were and how we're trying to bring them up to snuff and then make that decision. Definitely, you know, the little guys aren't gonna do it because they're not gonna, but your older kids, and it's just a constant of 8 games, I just make this up, on a field. It's like, you know, the band marching on the football field, you know, it's just, and if you're gonna plant and seed and aerate, you wanna give it time to grow and get established before you.
I think you'll get some benefit, like you said, with playing the kids in different directions and stuff, you'll get some different, your wear pattern's not gonna be the same.
Every single season, we are
game
transitioning
after
the
game.
direction of the play, and then also transitioning. The only field that we can't transition is Field 3. Field 3 is the only 11v11 site regulation field, and so we can't move 11v11 play to Field 2 or to Field 1 and 1A. That is unique in its situation, but we are doing the best that we can, yes.
From, in my opinion, just if you look at, you know, my daughter plays soccer, and I just think more damage probably happens during practice than happens during the game, because they more huddle to a certain area. So the main thing is, as long as we can rotate the practices around, and I think you've done a fairly good job of that. I mean, I don't see a lot of bare spots up there, you know, except for where the water was sitting, but I mean, we've tried to address all them. But I think more damage happens during practice than really during the game, because the game's moving so fast, you really don't have people huddling around or anything. You know, practice, you got everybody, you know, if you're showing somebody how to do a play or whatever, everybody's there. You know, so if you can rotate that around, that's really gonna help keep the grass better.
We actually utilize a play method in our practices so that it is the most game-like, and so we utilize the full fields, so it is very much like a game, so that we're not huddling together.
Any other questions or comments? Well, Sarah, thanks for coming tonight, and
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
a very, very good report. I'm glad to see soccer growing like that.
Thank
Keep
you.
up the good work.
Thank you for your
Thank
dedication.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, you want to continue on new business?
Yes.
Nobody here from Lions?
So I guess, yeah, no, I emailed them the same day, I guess it was the day before Thanksgiving. The same day I emailed all of you the agenda and everything like that. The ironic thing was our November meeting was canceled, and when our meeting got canceled, we had another meeting downstairs for something, and they showed up downstairs. And so I told them in person that day, I was like, yeah, our next meeting's December 2nd, show up first Wednesday. He's like, okay, yeah, no problem. And then I did email it to him, but, so I'm not sure what happened. But what, Darren, I don't know how we want to handle this, but what does everyone think of the sign?
I guess the only thing I would just add up before you start is if you want to go ahead and, there's no time frame on this. You don't have to go ahead. If they're not here tonight, something came up and they couldn't make it, you can always wait until January to go ahead and have a discussion about it if you want to, but
Yeah, that's,
I just,
that's true.
there's no, you don't have to make a decision. There's nothing magical about doing that tonight or anything, so.
I personally like the sign and the placement, both.
Will the sign be similar, what color?
Black.
Black. It should be in your packet, right?
Yeah, it's colored,
Some of them,
black and white.
some are,
The same that all.
Oh,
the
some of them
same-
are black and white, not color? Oh, sorry.
it's the same,
That's all right.
Oh, I was gonna say.
same themes
No,
as the
just-
newer signs.
That's okay. Oh, yeah, no, next.
It's like this? Yeah.
I got color.
Bingo.
Jesse's just colorblind.
They got color. They got color. Thank you.
They're happy with it.
It's very much in keeping what you've been redoing, all the signs through the park.
Yes.
It's good.
They worked with Ziegler, and obviously Garrett at Ziegler knew what we were trying to do, so he was
that's good.
able to come up with something fairly easy.
Wayne, I believe when you're drawing, this is the orange circle is where they wish to place it, correct?
Yes.
Right.
If we could, I guess one other question I could ask is just, pop out so that everybody can, they still plan on discussing this. We could install this sign, right? Shaking the head, yes.
Yes, we could.
Are they, who's paying for the sign?
Well, I would propose, since they made the donation, if whatever we can come up with, we'll figure out something, we could figure out something in the budget. And when I say we, the city,
Okay,
I think they are expecting that.
Yeah,
okay.
yep.
There's people out there all the time.
Well, I know that's, we were talking about that. They use that disc golf a lot.
A lot.
If you haven't been up there, we've got the canopy and stuff up, and
Yeah, I was up there.
the
other day.
front 9, pretty much all the holes, all the concrete tees are in. We still got a backfill around them, but it's coming along really nice.
So the canopy that's up there is from the old pool, so we were able to repurpose
that works.
All right.
Good idea.
Yeah.
So I've been looking into like, in the summertime when you play, there's no shade up there. And, when it's 100 degrees, there's no, or even if it starts raining, there was nowhere to go to get out of the rain or heat or anything like that. And so I was throwing around, when I first started, the possibility of, buying something to put up there, like some kind of shelter. And then in May, when we were doing the demo of the pool, we got everything out of the pool that we needed. And I was like, what are we going to, and we had just, recently, the cover of that thing had ripped, it had a hole in it, and so we had to replace it. So the cover's relatively new. And I was like, what are we going to do with that? I was like, we should take that to disc golf. So we had to do a small modification on the legs, but it was a good use of that. It kind of fits perfect over there. We can get 2 picnic tables under it, and gives them somewhere to get out of the sun.
Have the Lions seen, is this the placement that they like as well?
Yes, that's their,
That's
that
where
was
they
from
want the
them.
sign to go? Okay.
And it would be, it's a double-sided sign, so it would, the way they want it angled, you'd be able to see it from 100 and obviously International. Like if you were at the stoplight at 100 International, I think you should be able to see it.
Anything else about the sign? Do we want to do the Rotary Riverfront trail markers?
Yes, so yesterday, I think over past month or two, or couple months, I'd given you at least an update that Rotary, I worked with Rotary and we came up with a trail marker sign that I had seen in Columbia, Missouri, on one of their trails, something similar to that. And we modified it to have our own information on there. And then I approached a Rotary member and asked them if they would, would want to see their name on there, because on the trail down there, both trails, they've donated $80,000, and you wouldn't even know, other than us saying it's the Rotary Riverfront Trail, you would never know that it was the, Rotary Riverfront Trail. And so, yeah, they're like, yeah, we like that idea. And so we came up with the design and everything like that. And then yesterday, the guys drilled the hole, or augured the holes, and put the signs in. And then today, the Missourian was down there, and Chad and I and a couple of Rotary members, and we were shoveling dirt in the hole. They took some pictures, and so they'll be able to use that for their magazine. So they were real happy about that, and they're just happy to have their name on both trails now. And then kind of along with that, I worked with our engineering department over the last month or so, Charles, and in the kiosk there on the West Trail parking lot there by the boat ramp, on the one side that faces the river now, we have a nice new map of both trails, the West Trail and the East Trail, and the mile markers are designated, all the features of the park down there, called out on the map and everything.
Yeah.
So it's got kind of the rules of the trail and then the distances and everything. It turned out really nice.
That's
so.
good, yeah.
Very good.
That's on the riverside facing the river?
Yes.
Good, because I didn't see it.
Revision of the athletic and facility fields.
And I just put that on here under new business as kind of a FYI type thing. Over the next couple months, I'll be looking to kind of get the fees committee going again. We need to evaluate some of our facility fees, including specifically baseball, coming up with not necessarily the fees for like the Little League or anything like that, but coming up with like a tournament fee. Because last year we ran into some issues with these, and it could happen again this year, these teams from St. Louis County where their fields were closed down, they were coming out here. Normally, on a regular year, we wouldn't have any fields available for them during the summer because Little League would be playing, but when Little League canceled their season, we had open fields, but our fee structure was not, we didn't have a tournament fee structure. And so they were able to have these tournaments out here for like pennies on the dollar compared to what they would pay in St. Louis County or any like real baseball, softball complex. And so I'd like to get that in place, obviously, before the spring season starts.
What field did they use for the,
They used Ronzik, and then some of them used, because there was some girls softball tournaments, they used Lakefield softball fields too.
They wanted to have baseball up at Lakeview too, but the base lines aren't long enough, the
Yeah.
fields ain't big enough.
okay,
And so, and then there's a couple other, I think, facility fees we might glance at. It's a possibility, I need to look into a little further, but just on some of our initial conversations, we may possibly outpriced ourselves maybe on a couple of facilities. So I want to take a closer look at that.
okay.
So, if you recall,
When do you plan to start that up in
the next,
the
probably over
committees?
the next, probably in January.
January?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Well, with COVID, you could do it anytime, I'm available. Okay, and that's enough for new business. Let's go up to the Parks report. We'll go back up to the top.
Parks report. So I sent everyone an email, and I told you guys I would not forget the next time that we had one of these. On December 7th, the next council meeting at 7 o'clock, we'll be honoring Lloyd and Nita Yeager, who donated $140,000 to the city of Washington. And most of that money, $100,000 of the $140,000, came to the Parks Department. And that money, if you recall, was used to upgrade some of the pool features in the pool, which,
You get a bigger water basket?
yes, we had a lot of bigger stuff because of that, so it's very nice. And so we'll have this, we'll do a little ceremony like they did for Jackie Miller, which I forgot to invite you guys to, back in February. And then we'll also have on the building, just so you guys are aware, if you try to picture the new pool out there, you walk up the steps and you check it, you pay your money at the cashier booth there, and you walk through the hallway. In that hallway or that corridor, we'll have a plaque, a dedication plaque on the wall, with the date that the pool is dedicated and who all the councilmen and everything are on there. But then we have a line on there too, recognizing her donation with the pool and the half-cent sales tax money too. So
That's great.
they'll be called out there.
So 7 o'clock, December 7th.
Yes,
Thank you.
right there, 7 o'clock, yeah.
Monday night.
Next, we are possibly later this week. It's never really been done this early. Doing a median cleanup on Highway 100, so get everything cut down and mulched and everything, so it looks nice for Christmas time and hopefully all the holiday shoppers that are coming in town from out of town. We'll notice all the cleanup on 100 at the medians. And then recently, we've done, because I know Tessie brought it up in October, quite a bit of cleanup work over at Phoenix. And we're looking at some options over the next couple months here, the wintertime, on what we can do to have a better presentation over there during the summer. So hopefully we'll have a better looking park next summer. Another thing that I will probably need to get the facility fees together for, the plan is for pool pricing, new pool pricing, and all the memberships and all that stuff, to visit what we had and then make adjustments for the new pool. I'm working with staff right now internally on coming up with some suggestions for the fees committee, and then I would basically present those to you guys based on our research, and then we can discuss and make any changes we need to and go from there. So that will also be one of the plans to kick that off, kind of in conjunction with the facility fees. Hopefully we can knock them out at the same time. So, and finally, someone else, it might have been in the October meeting, I'm not sure, but recently mentioned about, can we please get the caboose painted? We were hoping to find a donation for that, but it never has materialized. And I went to Darren recently and I said, Park Board asked if we could please get the caboose painted. And so he gave the go-ahead to do that. So we will bid that out this winter when it's cold, and as soon as it gets warm, we'll get that thing painted. Some of you guys may have seen we've done a little bit of dress-up work to it for the holiday season. Santa Claus is inside making his list, and if you look at the list real close, you'll see my kids' names on there. And they're not checked, so I showed them that, and they got a kick out of that. And then we worked with Public Works to get a couple wreaths up there, and we had some electric ran to the caboose because we didn't have electric over there, and so it would look a lot nicer if it was painted, but it's got 2 lit wreaths on it at night, and Santa Claus is inside, so
It looks
kind
good.
of dresses up the park down there.
It does, it looks good.
And that's all I have.
Okay. We've done the communications and old business, the new aquatic facility.
Just a quick update on that. Things are moving along out there. They're probably ahead of schedule due to all the nice weather we had in November. Shingles, I think, were probably completed today, so it's fully roofed with shingles on it now. And the hillside project's coming along. They're moving along there, and it's really starting to look like a pool now. I mean, minus the features in it, but it's taking the shape of a pool anyway, so that's good. Um, Any questions on pool or anything that's going on out there?
No. Okay. We got disc golf on there, you've already
Yeah, we already talked about that.
talked about that one,
If
and,
I could just go back to that real quick about the sign, if I noticed that everybody was kind of nodding their heads, I think it'd go a long ways if we could just, if we wouldn't even have to ask them back. If everybody's in agreement of the placement of whether they want it, and we'll put
Yeah.
the sign up, we can just tell them that it's gonna be done.
That's kind of where I was heading, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it seemed like, because this was on the agenda in November, so they've seen it, but the meeting was canceled. And from the few people I've talked to, it sounded like most people were okay with what it looked like and where it was going to go. So, yeah, I thought maybe they wouldn't have to come back
They
then.
don't have, and if you guys make that, say, bless it, then we can move on and let them know, and I think they'd be happy to hear that.
Very good.
So do we need a motion, or
Yeah, it'd probably be good to have a,
I make a motion to approve the sign and this placement? Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Debbie and a second by Betty that the sign and the placement be approved. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So be it. And then last thing on the old business is the sculpture placement. That's,
I'm happy to say all the sculptures are out. I'm very happy the process is over. The only one that is not out, but it was out at one point, is the one that was at the old pool. When we start construction, we brought it back to the shop, and we will find a home for it at the new pool, but not in the pool. I got a text today from Mr. Pogue telling me how chlorine is bad for stainless steel. I think he thought, when I said it's going in the new pool, I think he thought it meant like in the water. Yeah,
I really did think that.
yeah, so,
Well, how did we get that many years out of the liner if chlorine's bad for stainless steel?
he had a story that his buddy made a ladder for a friend out of stainless steel, and the chlorine ate the ladder up.
It depends on what grade of stainless steel it is.
Okay.
okay.
Oh, good.
All right, there's nothing else. Anybody have anything they want to bring up, talk about?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, how do you do?
One thing.
Well, we have several. Robin?
I want to let people know that we are doing the flashlight candy cane hunt, but we're only doing a drive-through now. I still need people to sign up. You can now sign up for Parks and Rec activities on our new program, Civic Rec, so they can check that out. All that information is on our Facebook page. We are writing letters. Kids are writing letters to Santa, and we are forwarding on to the North Pole, so we're doing that.
Angel of Hope.
Angel of Hope.
Is this Sunday, if you can make it, that'd be great, we modified that. It's gonna be a drive-in style, so we'll be using the, parking lot there at the soccer field. People will park in their spots, they'll stay inside their cars, and it won't be as long as the regular program, so,
And it'll be live streamed.
yeah, we'll live stream it.
Oh, nice.
We had 18 bricks added this year, I hate to say that, but there are 18 bricks that were added. And we will let those parents on their own time go up there to the rows at the Angel Pope. If you've never been to that program, this is not the year to come to it probably, but it is a very,
Moving.
yes, moving program. And basically, the program is to help parents go through the holiday season.
Robin, can you tell them how many bricks we have total altogether at the
You're
Angel?
gonna ask that, I have no clue,
I think we're at over 200
probably.
Wow.
with what we're adding this, well, they're added. Thank your staff for us. But yeah, it's at 200 bricks for 200 children in our
It is
community.
moving, it is very moving
Yeah.
ceremony. If you don't really understand that, like, how many people it is affected in this community. And, it's a tearjerker too, so.
but you have no idea how grateful these people are that they have the opportunity to come to this place to honor their children, and they're so grateful.
Yeah.
Every year, I mean, they really move us to tears with their gratitude. So thank you for giving us that opportunity to have her here.
Yeah, we made sure, there was some discussion on whether it should be canceled or not, and I know it's very important to a lot of people, and so.
Very important.
I knew we could do it, pretty confident that we could do it and still abide by our, rules that we need to with social distancing and COVID and all that stuff, so.
Well, if you can live stream a bicycle ride, we can.
Yeah. One-handed when I got my boss in the middle of the
What-
road.
What time is that, Robin?
7.
Age of Hope is Sunday at 7 p.m.
7 p.m. And then where will that be streamed? On Facebook?
It'll be on the Parks and Rec Facebook page, which is, help me out,
Washington,
Washington, Missouri Parks.
Yep.
And then the flashlight campaign hunt, which is the drive-through now, is December 17th. They'll come off of, what is this, Jefferson, come right here in front of City Hall, this half circle, and then exit out. So they'll get, I got a lot of good stuff that they'll get, we just need people to sign up. So Santa Claus will be there, everybody will be social distance. So if you know people, like, it's for ages 1 to 12, so if you know people, they do need to sign up, it's $8 per child.
What time?
So
What time?
that's where,
5:30.
7:30.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Yes, Bob?
I've had, some people have been asking me about park benches on the West Trail.
yes.
Do you have any, and they want to know how much they cost. I think I want to donate at least one. Do we need park benches on more of them?
We have like 8 or 9 openings, I think, on the West Trail. I mean, we have pads poured for 8 or 9 openings on the West Trail. Yes, so Tessie, earlier when I said, we were talking about the orientation manual. I got some work to do with medians and these park benches before that manual. So yes, I'm working on pricing, and it shouldn't take me too long. I should have it ready before Christmas. So the plan was to hopefully hit the new year, like January 1st, and kind of push this information out about these benches.
Okay.
There already is a waiting list for the trail.
Yeah, there's like,
I
We have
don't,
lists, yes.
I don't know if there's
I thought
ones left without the waiting list.
So the waiting list will fill up the spots you have.
there's like 11, when I saw the list, there were 11 spots.
There's only 9
And if
spots.
they only have
then.
7, we have to come up with some more places.
Provided everyone, I need to
Yeah,
confirm that everyone still wants a bench.
Right.
Because some of them have been on the list for a while, so.
Well, and pricing is going to have an effect on that, too.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I've got a question. It was asked of me this week, something about at the Phoenix Park out there at the tennis courts. Someone asked if the city's going to put that, I guess you call it a hitting board up there at the tennis courts. Is there any plans on that?
What is it?
Practice board.
Practice board,
Practice
I
board.
guess.
You know what I'm talking about?
By yourself with
A
tennis.
hitting board that's inside the court like you.
We've never had one.
No, we never had one.
Oh,
I think at one time, somebody was gonna donate one, but other than that, it was,
Because we had one at the old time.
we had one at the old tennis court, and I think somebody was gonna donate one, and I don't know whatever happened to that when it first opened. And there has been a lot of comments since we've opened it.
How expensive would that be?
We'd have to look into it.
Yeah, I'd have to look into it. I could guess, but it'd just be guessing. Especially with the prices right now, it'd be expensive. It's gonna be higher, a lot higher.
No one has made a request to my office about it.
Really?
It's the first
Okay.
I've heard of it so far.
All right.
In the past, I've only been here 2 years, so I don't know what's been in the past, but recently, no one's said anything to me about it yet.
Okay.
I have one comment. Talking about benches, the dog park, is there any plan on doing any kind of bench or picnic table in the small dog area?
Yes, last year when we were when we poured all that concrete over there, in October 19, we made two, if you look, there's one on the large dog side and one on the small dog side. If you were standing at the main gate and you look to your right and you look to your left, you'll notice a piece of concrete, it's kind of wavy. That's a spot for a bench, one on each side. I worked this summer with the dog park group. The lady had informed me, I didn't have anything in writing about it, but that when the dog park was being built, the Lions had made a commitment to her group about supplying park benches. And so in September, I was ordering a bunch of other park furnishings, picnic tables and things like that. I approached her, I said, we have the concrete poured over there, do you have confirmation? If so, I'll order 2 park benches and we'll get them put in and they can, just cut us a check or whatever. And so she contacted Lions, her contact, and they said, yeah, they would do it. So we have the picnic tables, or the park benches, I should say, and we just need to assemble them and then mount them. And she's working on, I talked to her last week, she's gonna work on getting the logo to put on the backrest,
Okay.
the Lions logo put on the backrest, so. Soon.
Okay. That it?
Other than that, I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Yeah,
Yeah, same to you guys.
Hopefully it's a better New Year.
Yeah.
yeah.
Safe and well.
A motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to
Second.
adjourn.
I have a motion, a second.
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 We have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? January the
6th.
5th?
6th,
6th, okay.
It's on the bottom of your paper.
2021.
2021.
2021.
I didn't put 20 on there. Right.
All right.
All right, just keep moving on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Yes.
No, not so much.